Joining me right now is former Naval intelligence officer, former Bush administration official, and the chairman of the Bramer Group, Don Bramer, back with me. Don, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction to Trey Yingst's report just there.
Well, good morning, Maria. Trey was very poignant in saying that, this is not just an issue on the Gaza border right now. This is expanding across every side of Israel, and it's expanding in the region. One thing I do think that the Israelis are being very smart about is not being too hasty in their ground attack. Since October 7th, they've arrested or detained close to 600 Hamas operatives, just 60 last night. Several were key players with Hamas who I believe they're taking this as an opportunity to collect these operatives and gather as much intelligence as they can so that they might be able to find out where are those hostages, where are the Hamas strongholds. And the key thing here is you look at all of the missile strikes that Israel has sent in to Palestine have been very surgical. They have hit weapons depots, they have hit tunnels, and they have hit compounds that are holding Hamas.
Well, I was talking with one military official last night, and he was very worried that this could actually create massive instability across the Middle East. Talk to us about the ramifications of this and how you're looking at this longer term.
Well, as I've said earlier, this is a tinderbox that could explode at any time. And it's important for the United States and our allies to remain resilient and stick together and support Israel because, as said earlier, Ukraine has its allies, but Israel is in this alone. And we've got to stand by them to keep that region stable, because we had peace for several years under President Trump, and now the world sees this entire accord, and it sees this administration as falling apart and not being a global leader. So they're going to take advantage of it and use every opportunity they can to supersede this president and take the region down.
Yeah, and in fact, President Biden tried to tie the Israel-Hamas war to Russia's war on Ukraine last night. He's tying them together in an address to the nation last night, and he's calling on Congress to fund both wars. Watch this.
Assault on Israel echoes nearly 20 months of war, tragedy, and brutality inflicted on the people of Ukraine. Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it.
By the way, we should point out that this request for $100 billion is going to a House of Representatives that is without a leader right now, without a Speaker of the House. An official for the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group, meanwhile, reportedly warning that it is, quote, 1,000 times stronger than before, and that U.S., Israel, and other, quote, malicious Europeans should be careful, Don. Your thoughts on these warnings out of Hezbollah?
Well, at the same time that we keep asking our Congress for money for Israel, for Ukraine, we're giving money to Iran. And where do we think that money's going? That's what's making Iran stronger by the day. They're using these sources, even when they're not in their bank, they're using them to fund all these tentacles that we keep hearing about. We can't keep writing blank checks. But we also, what does it mean when you ask for $100 million when it's going to go nowhere? Because as of today, we don't have a speaker. What we need to worry about thinking about is we're just over 25 days from the continuing resolution expiring, and then we're back in a crisis of will we shut down the government again?
Yeah. What about that? I mean, what is the implication of no speaker while all of this is taking place?
Well, nothing can move. Without a speaker, a speaker right. Pro tem can only oversee putting a new speaker in place. So right now, no legislation, even if we have something passed on the Senate side, it's not going to move forward. It can't go anywhere. So until we get a Speaker of the House, nothing moves. No requests, no budget, no NDA, no appropriations, nothing. It's at a standstill.
Meanwhile, I want to get your take on the potential U.S. involvement here on a military level. U.S. coalition troops near Baghdad, Iraq, targeted in another drone and rocket attack just minutes before Biden delivered that address last night. In recent days, U.S. troops have repeatedly been attacked in Iraq and in Syria. Some incidents led to minor injuries for our military. Here's what the Pentagon said about all of this yesterday. Watch.
attacks, these small-scale attacks, are clearly concerning and dangerous, right? And we're going to, as I mentioned, we're going to do everything necessary to ensure that we're protecting our forces. And if and when we choose to respond, we'll do so at a time of our choosing. But if you step back and look again at what our broader strategic aim here, which is to deter a broader regional conflict, which is why you see us putting additional forces into the theater.
Don, a U.S. Navy destroyer also intercepting several missiles fired by Houthi militants near the coast of Yemen yesterday. The Pentagon said that they were potentially fired toward targets on Israel. But Don, what is the red line here for the United States to get involved on a broader level?
Well, I think right now we are standing fast, but I believe that Iran, its proxies, are really trying to look at every small step they can to provoke the United States. They're trying to provoke our allies. You know, we have there's UK allies in the region that have put their ships, their planes. I think they're trying to provoke us and see what will it take to get us involved, so that then it's not us getting involved because of Iran and Hezbollah, it's them getting involved because of actions that the United States has taken. So it's a provocative statement.
Incredible. We are watching an incredibly dangerous moment in time. Don, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Thank you.